everyone. So I thought I would start off on our Tips Tuesday, and I'm planning on doing these every Tuesday, probably about 1 o'clock. So I thought I'd start with talking about histamine and what histamine is. So you might have heard me or seen me mention about amines. So histamine is an amine. So an amine is a natural food chemical present in a large variety of food. And histamine is one in particular. So the list, if you might have looked at the Happy Without Histamine list, includes all of the amine containing foods as well as the ones that specifically contain histamine. Now this is due to the fact that a lot of amine can convert to histamine, mostly by bacteria in the gut, and also generally if you get sensitized to histamine coming into the body, you can also get sensitized to other amines. So that is why the list includes all amines, and so does the meal plan. Now, let's talk a little bit more about what histamine is. So histamine is a neurotransmitter. It's created by our mast cells in our body. And generally, it's not a problem at all. We need it. It is part of our standard inflammatory response against invaders. And, we need histamine to create gastric acid in our gut. We need histamine to actually give us a certain amount of motivation because it's a neurotransmitter. It's actually involved in waking our body up and part of the whole sleep-wake cycle. So it's actually really important. The problem is that we have too much being produced inside our body. So histamine intolerance is really histamine excess. We have too much. Now, I'll do some other lives later on about other things to do with histamine, but the basics are, at the moment with histamine intolerance, we stop bringing in so much to our body, and then that helps us stop having that overload of histamine in our body. So I think the next live I should do might be about the histamine bucket. Just so you know a little bit more about histamine, antihistamines that we take, they block the H1 and H2 receptors in our body. So if we take an antihistamine, they stop histamine connecting to this receptor. So they block the receptor. But the histamine is still floating around in our body trying to find a home. Now, it won't break down by itself. It needs enzymes to break it down. And the DAO and the HNMT enzymes are what the body uses to break down histamine. Histamine usually takes around about 3 days to break down in the body. So you could be taking antihistamines to mask some of your symptoms and block the connection of the histamine to the receptor. But as soon as you stop, those symptoms will come back. So that's basically part of why with the diet, we usually say, well, within about a week, you might see an improvement in symptoms, particularly if you're, straight into it rather than just removing a few things. And when you're doing a reintroduction, usually you need to wait a few days between a new food because it takes 3 days for the histamine to be broken down in the body. So I think that's enough for today. I've probably given you loads of information. Let me know in the comments if this was too much, not enough, what else you'd like to hear about. And if you haven't already got the list, it's free. Grab the list. It's in the announcements at the top. There's a link.